What is the deal, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Give Your Life to Bitcoin podcast, powered by Rock Bros Media, of course. I got my co-host Cal with me as always, and today I got a special guest for y'all. Um, Met this young man a couple weeks back, kicking it up at the barbershop. A lot of wisdom gets shared back and forth in the barbershop, and I was very intrigued by the questions that this young man started asking. They say a person advertises their own ignorance through the questions that they ask, but they can also advertise their own intelligence through the questions that they ask. And so, this gentleman that was asking some very intelligent questions, and he wanted more answers, and so he was seeking just like that brotherhood, that companionship, people you can be around and share knowledge with and learn and ultimately grow from. So I thought that this platform be a great opportunity to bring that young brother on and just kind of hear his thoughts on things and just kind of his perspective of the world, being a 23-year-old young millennial. um so without further ado, I want to bring my brother Trey on up on stage and let him introduce himself to y'all. What's going on with you, Trey?
What's up, y'all? Nice to
Go
meet
ahead,
y'all,
man, share a little
man.
bit of your background.
Mhm.
Man, I met you, yeah, like you said, in the barbershop, and then I just heard y'all talking about like Bitcoin and then all the tokenization and all that stuff that's going on. I'm like, dang, this is like all the stuff that I be watching and trying to learn and understand, man. And I was like, Doug, I gotta definitely like ask some questions and try to chime in or get some knowledge from what y'all was talking about, man. Because I'm always looking around and trying to, you know just initiate with my surrounding areas and just grow because anybody can teach you anything, even a bum can on the street can you can learn something from a bum on the street, man. So I'm all about growth, just connecting with my community and my people, and just trying to extend myself and help everybody around, man. I'm an HVAC technician, so I do work on ACs and furnaces and stuff like that and do troubleshooting and stuff. So I'm always with the nitty gritty, but I also do started learning about cybersecurity, and I'm trying to get my way into that field and also learning about crypto and trading and stuff like that. So that's a little bit about me. Yeah. But no, yeah, go back to you. Go back to the host.
Much respect, bro. Definitely got a lot of questions for you, man. Uh, Number one thing I respect is, you have yourself a trade at 23 years old.
Mhm.
I myself, I actually got exposed to the trades pretty late, and that's one thing I wish I could reverse the hands of time and get into a lot sooner. Get into the trades. A lot of people don't know it's a hidden gem, dude. It is a hidden path in society. It's almost like the school systems don't want you to know about this stuff. They don't even want you to know this stuff exists, because then you can bypass the whole college scam. You don't need to go to college to make 200, 250, $300,000 in a single year. You go
Yeah.
learn a trade, technical skill, and all of a sudden you're making all this money. And so definitely curious, man, what pushed you into the trades after post high school or post college, if you attended college at all.
So really, it's not even post college. It's post military. I'm a military veteran. So actually, after high school,
Appreciate
I
the
went to
service.
the army. Did my little time, got out. So after that, um, I was like, oh, before I was getting out, I'm like, dang, what should I do? Like, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. So then I started looking up. I'm like, I need something sustainable that I can keep doing. I'll be able to get a job anywhere, whenever anything fall down or I'm having tough times, I can be able to, pick myself up. You feel me? And then after that, I just start searching online. Start searching online. I'm like, what? I'm like, internet, I'm just thinking online, just searching on anything. Then out of nowhere, just HVAC just pop up on my feed. Just you want to be an HVAC tech or a service tech. So then I start going to job fairs. Like I'm talking to all my sergeants and stuff like that. I'm like, when's the next job fair and stuff like that. So they giving me the information. I start going down there, and then I just meet one guy. He was telling me about like going into the schools and stuff like that. And then I start calling around the schools. After that, I start calling around the schools. I called around like 3 schools, and I was like, I couldn't go in person because with when you in service, like you kind of like they always gonna need you for something, and I can't really do it. So I was like, I'm gonna have to do online. So started doing online. I went to a school called PCI, Pinnacle Career Institution, and then just started from there. And I did like a whole like basically 12-month process, and then like a whole like month and a half process in person, in person and well with training and stuff like that, taking the test and getting my certificate and stuff as well there. But I just always had that instilled like from my friends, family. Like my grandpa, he helped build the Motor City Casino, so he's always been like uh he done carpentry, plumbing, like he done it all. Both of my grandpas on both sides of my family. So it's just I've always working with your hands, just like they always instilled that with us. Is like my grandpa would just be like, put your hands on something every time like I'm around him. God rest his soul. But yeah, that's just a lot of influence in my life.
Much respect, much respect, man. You talked about your granddad building that Motor City Casino. That's honestly how I actually fell in love with construction. Uh, the everything that goes into it. Obviously, we know that building is the most valued profession throughout human history. From the standpoint of some of the earliest builder group organizations like the Masons, you know, the stone builders of society. Um, these people were almost looked at as gods, right? Because they could erect structures. To be able to erect structures and create marvelous visuals for people to look at is fascinating. And more importantly, to be able to say you were a part of that. So every time your granddad drive passes the Motor City Casino, he can look and tell his grandchildren like, "Hey, I helped put that there," and there's a pride that you take in that, and that's how I fell in love with construction in general. Every concept of it, from the planning, executing the permit strategy, surveying the site, uh, gathering contractors to perform the work, and actually watching the work get executed. It is unbelievable, and when you're building it, most of the time, nobody knows what the hell is going on. Like when you're halfway into the build, you look around like, man, I don't know what we're building, but we look like we getting somewhere.
We
And you
get
ask
somewhere,
anybody, right?
yeah.
You could ask the HVAC guy, you can ask the electricians, you can ask the sprinkler fitters, you can ask the grout team. You be like, hey, do y'all know what the hell we're doing? They're like, couldn't tell you. All I know is I got a drawing, I got a blueprint, I know where my shit's supposed to go, and that's what it is. So, so did you complete an apprenticeship program? Are you a journeyman now, or you working on that?
Oh, so right now I'm about to go into a union right now. I did a year of apprentice work at 2 different companies because I just wanted to see what it was like just to be in the field. So now I'm going into the union and about to be a sheet metal apprentice worker. So then I could just have a full time, stable job that pays well, and then I can be able to learn more stuff because I want to be in more of the commercial field with HVAC. It's different. It's 3 different sides: commercial, industrial, residential. And I was doing residential apprentice work so far. So now I'm trying to switch to the metal work with commercial, so then I can really get more pay because that's where the real money is. Commercial is like top of the line. You making your own money, then you can like work for yourself. Because I want to get into refrigeration and be able to do that. I'm kind of more of a loner when I work, so I like to just be on my own, do my jobs and stuff like that. So that's just really what I set on doing right now with my HVAC journey.
Respect. I really respect that. Sounds like we're all in the blue collar energy here. It seems like a lot of our families have that history. Um, I can relate to that too. Like Cordell said, I'm actually getting back into the safety field. Myself dabbled with it a few years ago. Now I'm getting back into it, trying to establish a solid career after years of just, meandering through life, dabbling with different things and figuring out who I am, hitting my head. Now I see the value of of knowing what you want to do, of actually going to something stable and like not really worrying about what other people say. Because, you know, coming up in our generation, the big thing was white collar work. And, you know, you want to get an office job, you want to climb the corporate ladder. And, you know, a lot of times, uh, older people try to make us feel bad for thinking, oh, that's when we feel like, oh, that's corny, man. I don't want to wear no suit and tie. Like every man should have a suit and tie for any occasion. Should be well groomed.
Definitely,
Look
I agree.
right, but it's like, you know, this country was built on blue collar work. Like I said, I'm pretty sure. Like sounds like your grandfather. He probably has similar history to mine. Cordell's like, you know, probably came up here, family from the south on a train or
Yeah,
something. Job,
yep.
took care of the whole family with a blue collar job. The stuff that really built this country. And if it's anything I could say, man, Trey, my hat goes off to you, because if I had did the things you did at your age, I know I would be in a very different place right now. I still got time. Like I say, I'm 31, but any young man, especially a young black man coming from where we come from, who goes the path that you have chosen to take. Like I said, I got a lot of respect for your man. So like I say, you are truly on the right path. You've inspired me. You know what I'm saying? Hearing a story like yours, especially coming from the military and then transitioning into the blue collar field and dominating that. Like I say, it takes a lot of focus and dedication. Like I say, my hat goes off to you.
Appreciate you, man. And even just being in that type of environment, dog, it's just like understanding how people work and move into different environments and being able to cultivate that and then add it into another job. It just helps me, I take everything, all the experiences learn, and all the jobs that I had, I just try to add it on to the next and try to improve that, so then I can get me to the next spot. That's what I've been trying to focus on and keep growing. I say we lost the host. I don't know what happened to him.
Oh no, he's still being here. He's still being here. Probably he just switched it to just me and you, since we're having, you know,
Oh,
di-
okay. I'm
No,
like,
you good.
dang, dog disappeared.
Question. So, like you say, like in this field, like you say, you getting into sheet metal where it's where the real money at. Um, or when it comes to the investing that you've done so far with the career path that you chose, and like, so how did you, or what was your first a little taste of getting into investing? Was it stocks? Was it crypto? Like, what was it for you, or where you got your feet wet with investing that made you want to say, you know what, I want to make this a part of my life and building my foundation? What was your first little dive into that, into this world?
So so even with just the financial, my uncle just kind of even put me into that like whole mindset of investing before I joined the army. So he put me on a path. He was like, start reading. He told me first book I read, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And
Hey,
Rich Dad Poor Dad, first book I read. One of the other books that I've been reading now is this is my other favorite book so far that I've been reading. It's a good
Okay.
book. If y'all can see
I've
it.
heard of
It's a
that one. I've
millionaire
heard of
mind.
that one. Don't have it, but I've heard of that one.
This one has been pretty good to me so far. So I've been liking what I've been reading so far in that book. But after that, I think he told me to get a high yield savings account. So that
Mm.
was like my first into like he's like just start putting like $50 in there, man. Like every time you get your paycheck, just start putting money in there before you go off to army. So that was like my first like, all right, I'm about to invest, start saving, and I'm getting a little return off my money. You know, this is gonna be able to like have for a rainy day or whatever. Cause I was young at the time, so it's like I'm saving, but it's like you know, I didn't know what I was saving for. It's just I'm just taking in the knowledge so far. So then after that, then I started investing in I'm trying to see because it was my first time in 2020, what 2022? Yeah, 2022 is when I first started investing in the Bitcoin and then just started buying some. I didn't even know what I was doing, but I'm just trying to figure. I'm like, I'm hearing about Bitcoin and my uncle told me about it. And I'm like, dang, I know what this is. And then it was like I just bought a little bit, but it was like I didn't know what I was doing. So I just dropped it and then out of nowhere this year, like I dropped it for a year. This year, um, Nah, I didn't put a whole bunch of money in Bitcoin. I didn't see it go up, and I was like, I've been started watching videos like you said earlier, Cordell, Keith D, YouTuber. I started watching him. I started watching another lady named Camila Stevenson. That's another guy. He does a more like a financial breakdown, but he talks about the market, and he has a thing called Stock Up University as well. He breaks down basically all the market and like basically the macro movements in the charts and all that stuff like that, which I'm trying to understand. And it just
Mhm.
started getting me trying to fix basically my foundation of investing so I can, secure my generation and our future and start building for wealth, start building generational wealth. So after that, then I started getting into the XRP and Ethereum, and
Yeah.
then and Solana. Also, I was just started getting interested, started putting my money into these, and then now I'm trying to look for land as well. So like though that's I'm trying to. I heard silver and gold also just like shot up as
We were
well.
just talking about that. I was telling Cordell about this video I saw from you ever heard of Graham Stephan?
I think I heard him. I be seeing a lot of those videos. Like, soon as I seen like it popped up, somebody also posted a video about it, and then I just start seeing everybody talking about it on my feed.
Yeah.
My ex started going crazy.
The silver, like I say, has just shot up. The video that Graham Stephan put out today was about how China is going to start restricting its supply of silver to the rest of the world. And for those of you that don't know out there, silver isn't just something used in jewelry. Same thing as gold or even platinum. Silver is the best, along with gold, one of the best metals and conductors when it comes to electronic circuitry. It's the best, and it's very important to the infrastructure of the world. It's currently at about trading between 75 $80 per ounce, and it's still affordable. So if you figure China is going to be restricting its supply of silver to the world, then that's definitely going to affect the price. And like you say, silver is involved in a lot of EV, a lot of electronic vehicles. And China actually produces 80% of the world's EVs, and as well as solar panels, computer chips, all these things that help our life run. So, like I say, definitely on the right path with that. That's something, especially here in the Black community, that we take for granted. Our people, we like to look nice, oftentimes to our detriment, and we see these things. Oh, this is something I'm gonna wear on my body, as opposed to no, this is something like you say. This could take care of my family for the rest of my life. Like I say, you buy some land, like I say, and use that like start like a silver holding company or whatever. You see what I'm saying? And stuff like that. It all ties into it, and it even ties in to Bitcoin in terms of the technology that's needed to, run the blockchain, to have all these computers. Like I say, silver and gold are involved in all of these machines. So definitely, like I say, you're on the right path, paying attention to that, because it's something that I took for granted after a while. Like, oh, like dang, I didn't even know silver or
Many
gold was
Americans are
had
unaware.
used was used in all of these products.
Definitely.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I wanted to actually show this video, Trey, that you actually referred us to earlier today.
Yeah.
Just want to dive in at least like 3 to 5 minutes of it, just to get everybody on the same page with, kind of the direction we want to head with the discussion, and a little bit about what you've been kind of diving into. So let's check it out for a second.
The technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade.
Tokenization is the idea of using then smart contracts or tokens on chain to be able to, that represent, say, an underlying security.
Do you expect this is where financial services is going? Are the major banks and the brokers out there today moving increasingly toward tokenization?
Oh, absolutely. And it's the way the world will be, here in the, I mean, maybe not even in 10 years, maybe even a lot less time, maybe a couple of years from now.
The institution that is responsible for the clearing, settlement, and custody of almost all securities transactions in the United States, responsible for processing $3.7 quadrillion annually, just got the green light from the Trump administration to completely rewire the U.S. financial system, and they're going live in the second half of 2026. By the way, the number that I just said was $3.7 quadrillion. And quadrillion is the number that you get after trillion. And trillion is the number that you get after billion. And I won't insult you by going any further than that. So the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, the DTCC, just got a no action letter from the Securities and Exchange Commission, or essentially was just given the green light to update the financial system. But what is the DTCC? What do they do? What is a no action letter? And what does this actually mean for you, and how can you position yourself to take advantage of what's coming? First, what's the DTCC? All right. So we live in a world today where fiat currency is the standard, meaning money is no longer backed by any physical commodities, but instead by trust and by debt. And so as a result, the supply of money is constantly expanding, and over time, the purchasing power of that money steadily declines. So because of this, simply holding cash is almost guaranteed to lose value. So it's become the default for investors and institutions and governments to invest. So people move their money into stocks, bonds, and other financial instruments called securities in an attempt to preserve and grow their wealth. Securities are tradable financial assets such as stocks, bonds, and derivatives that represent ownership, debt, or some sort of contractual claim. And this is how companies and governments raise capital, and this is how investors participate in economic growth. When you go out and you buy a security, whether it's a share of a stock or a bond, you aren't transacting directly with the issuer or the company or the person that's on the other side of the trade. These transactions flow through a complex network of intermediaries, such as brokers, exchanges, clearing firms, and custodians. And this is where the DTCC, the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, comes in. Because the DTCC sits at the center of the modern financial system. Its role is to clear, settle, and custody securities transactions. So it makes...
I want to pause it right there. Right. Because obviously, he's going deep into the ways that this analog system is kind of just dissipating right before our eyes. For our parents, this is a very, very scary phenomenon. I know some very brilliant people who are, from what's the generation before us, the boomer generation. Some very knowledgeable people in the boomer generation who actually are just so baptized into the dollar system that there is actually no hope. There is no rewiring 60 plus years of dollarization. So they believe that the government will always rule, that they are too big to fail, that we should just basically just bend to their will. And that's because that's the way it's been for thousands and thousands of years. Money was, it was created by God at first. God was in control of money. Money was subject to the laws of nature. When you look at stuff like gold, silver, other precious metals, we used tulips at some point, beads, seashells, cattle. This stuff was created by God, and the supply was of natural order. And at some point, humans got involved with that process, with that phenomenon of us needing a way to fairly transact value with one another. Humans came up with the bright idea of utilizing paper to represent what a person had in real assets. So gold, for example, gold used to be redeemable, or dollars used to be redeemable for gold. So you could basically bring your dollars to the bank, Every $35 you had, you could withdraw 35 ounces, or was it 1 ounce of gold? So for every $35, you could take out 1 ounce of gold out of the vault or the bank. Um, that worked until it didn't. Governments got greedy and they wanted to be able to go to war. They needed to be able to fund wars. And unfortunately, throughout human history, if you weren't a violent tribe, if you weren't a violent group of people, you really did not last long in a dog eat dog world. So the more peaceful tribes were the ones who got punished, unfortunately. So throughout human history, nature has always favored the tribes that were more violent, unfortunately. And that has still been true all the way up until 2009, January 3rd, when the first Bitcoin block was mined. The fact that that first block was mined, the Genesis block is what we call it, that alone changed the course of human history in ways that we will not be able to unravel for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years from now. So our ancestors will look back at that day, that moment, as a pivotal shift in the dynamics of human interaction. So it's comparable easily to fire. You know, Prometheus gave us fire. How much did humanity change when it came across fire for the first time? It was a monumental shift, a shift we could never go back from. How relevant was it when, you know, Edison showed us how to basically light our homes with electricity? It was a monumental shift. And for the longest, they thought people who were interested in electricity were just nerds. Don't talk to those guys. You know, they're just, you know, they're into witchcraft. Turns out they were into pushing the world forward. And our lives will never be the same because of it. And what Satoshi did in January 2009 was gave humanity, for the very first time ever, perfected money. And what he did was make sure he left that protocol open. When the protocol is open source, basically I have nothing to hide to you. You can use this protocol after thoroughly examining it. You can look through it, you can look for bugs, you can look for anything that don't make sense. You can critique it, you can change it, you can alter it if you don't like what this code says. But there were developers who were very interested in what the Bitcoin white paper, which I always keep a copy of right here on my desk, this 9-page document here that's going to change the course of human history, is more important than the Constitution. So I keep this is actually the Bible now. So this is my Bible. I keep my Bible right here on the desk. And now that humanity has perfect money, nature is no longer favoring the violent tribes. Those days are behind us now. So now we're on an even playing field now, where we don't have to rely on, oh, we're stronger than you all. We have a bigger army. We have, you know, more better weapons. You can no longer rely on that. Bitcoin evens the playing field now. So now that the playing field is even, with this protocol that's protected by cryptography and proof of work, and the largest and most robust computing network humanity has ever seen, we don't have to rely on trust anymore. One of the things that Keith D mentioned in that video, and shout out Keith D, one of the things he mentioned in that video is how the system that they're trying to, or that we're evolving out of, is a system that relies 100% on trust and faith in our government. And right now, faith in the government is at an all-time low. So this Bitcoin phenomenon is much bigger than just trying to make some money. I know when people first get into this and they hear about, you know, the different cryptos, the XRPs of the world, the Litecoins, the Ethereums, the Solanas, we get in initially not knowing what the hell is going on. All we know is this is a new emerging asset class, and I have an opportunity to front run billions of people. And it's not until you do the proof of work. You have to do the proof of work. The proof of work is the time that you spend alone researching, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, gaining that knowledge, answering your own questions, because you're always going to have questions. My first 5 years in Bitcoin, I just could not trust it. I'm like, something ain't right here. So I was always just trying to find a way to critique it. Not just Bitcoin, but crypto in general, blockchains. I just could not accept that there was something digital that was also immutable, uncontrollable, unhackable, its own entities. It just, if something is too good to be true, it often is. And that's personally how I felt. You know this, Cap.
Mm-hmm.
And so the strongest, most convicted Bitcoiners are the ones who started out as skeptics. As the one who's like, it's probably just a fad, or it's rat poison, it'll die out. Warren Buffett called it rat poison. And the thing is, if you're somebody like Warren Buffett who's sitting on billions of dollars, you're a person who has more time or more money than you have time. Bitcoin doesn't seem that interesting. It's like, look, I got this money and I'm going to die with most of it, so I don't care about Bitcoin. But if you're a young person like yourself, 23 years old, and you have more time than money, Bitcoin is very interesting to you. Compound in general. What you were learning when you were investing in these things is the principle of compound, is taking a dollar and making that dollar multiply itself and create more of itself. That's a form of sorcery within itself, or witchcraft within itself. And some people are better at that game than others. But I'm not going to sit up here and try to orange peel you right here in this conversation, Trey. But what will inevitably happen over time is you become more mature in the space. Your understanding gets that much more deeper. All of the noise, i.e., other coins, are going to filter themselves out. And Bitcoin is going to be that lighthouse beacon in a sea full of noise and misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Man, that was great. That was great. Um, I'm just here. You feel me? I'm just here to take it all in, man. And what you were saying, I'm here for it, man. I'm here to learn. I'm here to understand it, and I'm not here for a short term, blow up, because that's what people get into it and think, it's just like, fast money. And I see myself as more of a long term investor, and that's what I know that what this is long term investing and patience, and I have that, and a lot of people don't have that for this type of environment too, what we're getting into. You feel me? So I'm here, I'm here to learn and break down the market and learn the plumbing of what's going on, because that's what's actually happening. Even with what's happening now, like people trying to learn with what's going on with XRP and stuff like that, it going down, it dropping, and then it dipping, and people like, you're looking at the charts, stuff like that, but not actually looking at what's going on with the financial plumbing of the system. And that's what kind of like even started me off of trying to understand what's happening, like what all the news that's outlets is coming out, what's actually moving the market, what those are the were the deciding factors of like, okay, I need to actually like figure out and really, dig deep and like understand what's going on, because if I'm half in it, I'm gonna be left behind. I can't, be back and forth with it. So I was like, just start when I finally met you man, you kind of just like fell into my fell into my hands like the right time, man. I'm like, bro, I was asking God, I'm like, I need I'm looking for new opportunities, and I need people to connect with so I can expand my mind, my network and everything. And it just so happened like that guy you was in the barbershop getting cut that day, man.
It's like they say,
Oh, nigga.
your network will determine your net worth, and like I say, things line up how they're supposed to. Because it's like back in 2016, me and Cordell, we had linked back up. I had came over one day. I was seeing a friend not too far down the road in Harper Woods, and I said, let me stop back over and see. Mind you, it's like, I know where my family lives, but it's like you never know the exact address. So I pull up because I remember the house, because I go over there all the time with my mother, and I'm like, I think this is the house, and sure enough, I knocked on the door, And, Cordell and my other cousin Kari opened the door, and, we just been rolling again ever since. And I remember I was learning about Bitcoin around that time, and I had really started to be captivated by it and into the world of cryptocurrency. And around that time, I bought my first Litecoin, and I got into XRP as well. And I never bought Ethereum, but I did have, like I say, it was Litecoin, XRP, and VeChain. I had VeChain
Mm.
at the time. And then, I had passed the word on to Cordell. And now, like I say, he's actually restoring my faith into the environment with Bitcoin specifically. And now, like I say, here you are on the podcast. So it all comes back around. I was actually at the park not too long ago, and I was filming some content. Just like, was passing some time, wanted something to do. And a guy had walked by. He asked, "Hey, you shooting something right now? Some kind of film or something?" I was like, "Yeah, something like that." And then we start, talking it up. And he had, I told him, I said, "Yeah, me and my cousin, we do a podcast about Bitcoin." He was like, "Oh yeah, man, I've been hearing about Bitcoin. I've been trying to learn about it myself because I know it's the next biggest thing coming. I don't really understand it that much, but I want to learn more about it." So he passed me his phone, and this is what I mean when I say, like, you certain things, like as humans, we know who's in the know. Like they say, if you know, whether you're a hipster or Democrat, Republican, LGBT, you're in the anime, like there are certain things, like they say, you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, sometimes you can. Sometimes things are exactly as they appear to be. And he showed me his phone, and he was already looking at a podcast on YouTube, and you won't believe what podcast he was looking at. I was like, "Oh, Joe Rogan, got him." And I referred him to the Rock Bros YouTube page and to the podcast. He was like, "Yo, yeah, man, definitely, I'm definitely gonna tune in." And just like that, people match up where they're supposed to be. And I think at this time, like I could tell who's probably like mid, probably early mid 30s. You know what I'm saying? Young white guy, and just off the fact that he was watching that, because I love the Joe Rogan podcast, and he talks about similar things on there too, whether it be psychedelics or conspiracy theories or what's happening in the world or stuff in the past. We're on the similar wavelength. And I think the thing that I love about the Bitcoin community, whether you be the maxis or people just getting into it, it's people's sense of doubt in the system that we've been brought up into, because that's what drew me to it. I was like Cordell said, it's like, damn, like when I first heard about Bitcoin, I was in high school, and my friend at the time, rest in peace, I was gonna say rest in peace, Dan Smith, this young guy, he was he was a drug dealer in the school. He put me on the psychedelics and everything, put me on to the dark web, and Bitcoin was how he was buying, his stuff off the dark web. He kept on telling me, "Yeah, man, you got to get into Bitcoin, man. It's gonna change the world. This stuff is taking over." And I'm thinking, okay,
What
like you
year was
might.
this?
I'm
What
17.
what year?
This was 2011. This was 2011. I didn't get back into Bitcoin until 2016 when me and you linked back up. But even at the time, that's when I first heard about it. And then when I had linked back up with when I had met Dustin, I met him at community college, and he kept talking about it and kept talking about it. And he had met Dan too. And I met other people from hanging around Dustin. I met other people who were in the Bitcoin space and the cryptocurrency space. And then that's when I jumped into it in 2016, like head on. And that's when me and you linked back up. And like I say, here we are again today. And I was just captivated at the doubt that it stirred in my mind. Like, I've been brought up under the typical financial ethos that all of us are raised with, go to school, get a job, get a mortgage, all this stuff, get into debt, car notes, get this account, get that account, 401k, like everything that the traditional safe investments. And over time, I had began to question all of that and start to see, learn about the Rockefellers and, the Carnegies and the Warburgs and the Morgans, the creation of the Federal Reserve, taking us off the gold standard. And I learned about all of these things leading up to me wanting to get back into Bitcoin. And it started to be my aha moment. Like, wow. So I was like, damn, basically this is going to free us from all of this stuff. And it did seem too good to be true, but lo and behold, it's true. And it's an opportunity for all of us to, to make something of ourselves financially. And like I said, I even went through my periods of doubt, when I had to sell all my crypto. And like I say, I found myself getting back into it now, slowly but surely, as I get established in my career and dollar cost average and put more money into it. So that's why I would say, Trey, you're at a great spot right now, being 23. Man, the time when I was 23, Bitcoin was, that was what? I was 23, 2017. That's when I was 23. Man, like what was Bitcoin back then, Cordell? What was the price of Bitcoin in 2017?
2017, the lowest price point was $3,000.
Oh man, like I
Oh no,
say,
excuse me. January, it was $800.
oh man, see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
right now, like people
But
feel like
get
all things.
this, your buddy put you hit back in 2011, right?
Because at the time, like I say, I'm a kid. I ain't got no job. I ain't know anything about how to access on the internet. I just heard about it. I didn't really start
Hey
getting
Trey, get
involved.
this, bro. It was fucking 10 cents. 10
Yeah.
cents for one Bitcoin in 2011.
Could have bought a million of them for $100. Like,
If you had $1, you would be a millionaire.
And
more.
I used to see that one like video on like online. There was like a guy that was begging people to like, if you just invest $1 in the Bitcoin, just one
I
freaking
remember that
dollar or
video.
so. It always used to hit. I'm like, dog, why did my dad just invest in?
So
I'm like,
imagine
You know what
investing
though, Trey?
1,000 back then.
I don't know. You don't have kids, do you?
no, no, no.
If you plan on having kids in the future, you will have to answer to them because they're still gonna ask you, even at the price it's at right now, 88,000. Dad, why wasn't you buying this thing when it was under $100,000? You're gonna have to explain to them how you let Bitcoin get to $10 billion per coin, and you didn't buy any under 100,000.
Crazy.
So
Under a
what I love
thousand.
so much about this, and Trey, you mentioned
Exactly,
it.
that's what I'm saying. Under 1,000.
We had
You
that.
mentioned it, bro. This is not a get rich quick scheme, and that's why I'm so in love with it, bro. This is what gives me the most faith in it. I know the type of people that immediately pushes out, and that's because our money system is broken, bro. How is it that I need 3 pennies to make 1 penny? That is a broken money. It
That's what
does
it
not
started.
work, and it completely fucks up your perception of time. We're all living in a false perception of time itself, bro. And I'll explain to you how. When you have a money that you can literally just hold on to it. And the longer you hold on to it, the more powerful you become. It's almost like Dragon Ball Z when Goku used to hold his hands up and he summoned that spirit bomb. And the
Yup.
longer he can stand there and hold it, the more powerful the spirit bomb becomes. True money is money that you can literally just hold and you become more powerful.
And it becomes
Your
more
money
valuable.
is broken. Your money is broken when you hold it and you become weaker. It's broken. It does not work. Why is it that the longer I hold a dollar, the weaker I become, the less I can do with it? I'm not being rewarded for not going to the strip club, for not going to the casino, for not putting rims on my car. I'm not getting rewarded for bypassing these things. I'm being punished for it. I might as well fucking buy the Rolex because guess what? If I buy the Rolex and literally just hold it for 10 years, all of a sudden it's worth more of the dollars that I've been trying to get. So it holds its value better than dollars itself. So this is why I had to stop judging rich people for buying certain things, certain assets, because they had a better understanding of true money versus broken money.
Hmm.
And all of us are in a false perception of time with that being the case, because the more inflated your currency is, the less you feel like you have time, right? If you knew today, if you had $1 million today and you knew that by tomorrow it will be worth nothing. What are you going to do? You're going to hurry up and get rid of it, right? You're going to buy anything. Give me toilet paper, give me a pack of noodles, shoes, cars, houses. I'm buying it all in a single day because tomorrow it ain't going to be able to buy me nothing. So that's a person with a high time preference. But to the person who knows, okay, if I hold on to this $1 million and in 10 days or a year, it's going to be worth 100x. I'm not going to spend a red fucking dime of it. I'm going to sleep in the shoebox and just hold it as long as I can and come out almighty, all powerful. And now all of a sudden, your time horizon has been lowered. And now you're not as anxious as your fellow citizens. You're watching them run around, stress themselves out, work like hamsters on the wheel just to get the same payout while you sitting back relaxed. And they're asking you, like, how are you this calm? The world is fucking chaotic right now. How are you this relaxed?
Like that
How are you
meme.
this sure of your financial future? And
Mhm.
it's because you have gotten yourself out of that game of time. You've bought Bitcoin, you've traded your broken dollars or broken money for Bitcoin, and you bought your time back, which bought you your peace of mind back. So for me, this ain't got, man, money is just a byproduct of what this thing is doing for our lives, bro. I can literally show you, bro. If you log on right now, and I just want to share my screen just to show you guys this real quick. Right now, I'm gonna log on to the one of the most important websites that I think everybody should get into at some point. Um, can you guys still see my screen here? Let me see. Let me bring it to the stage. All right, so this is my screen. I want to show everybody what happens when you log on to hope.com. You know, the reason why people want to commit suicide and they're just unhappy and miserable in life is because hope is completely absent in their lives. You know, I've had a point in time where I no longer wanted to be alive, wanted to unalive myself, and hope was completely absent. This is why people go to church. They go to church to, you know, to restore, to hold on to reinvigorate their hope, to want to live and want to see another day, because we know that life is hard, bro. We know this shit is not easy. Being alive is not easy, bro. Like 50 Cent said, death gotta be easy because life is hard. You know what I'm saying? It's the natural polarity of this universe. So when you log on to hope.com, what you get is a bunch of different articles on Bitcoin explaining to you what hard money is, what it is beyond the bubble, what our treasury companies, so much knowledge and so much information. And that's pretty much all that matters. And I don't know if you guys are able to see that at all, because it looks like y'all back on the stage. Did y'all see any of that I just showed?
The first screen, yeah.
The first, yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. So again, hope is what this is about, bro. Money is just so happens to be a byproduct of all of that. So if there's anything you get from this talk, I want you to know that, bro. Like, allow Bitcoin to restore your hope in humanity, bro. Your hope into the future. And as AIs become more and more disruptive to our everyday lives, guess what? We're going to rely on these blockchains more and more and more. And I'm sure you probably have some questions about, okay, what is this whole tokenization thing? What is the idea of tokenizing? And pretty much what it is just, hey, we're just going to move our operations onto the blockchain. The reason why that's really scary for a lot of institutions, governments, corporations, because they never had to be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
When you got to be transparent with somebody, that's like you work a job and your boss like, all right, let's run the numbers. What's going on here? You better be transparent, because if they find any defects or inefficiencies, one ain't adding up to two, you're out of there.
Can you
So
imagine if the U.S. government was transparent about all the money and like in every single program is spent when it comes to military? Like, I see y'all spent $1 trillion into, looks like unregistered aerial site in Nevada. Isn't Area 51 out there? Let's see what that $1 trillion got spent. Oh, reverse engineered alien technology. Oh, what about let's see what that $100 billion that got sent over to. Oh, that got sent to a country who violates people's human rights, even though we condemn people in our American media about it. I see. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, Pete, that like you say, like if transparency, and I think we need to make this quote official on this podcast. In the modern times, if you want an effective government, or put like this, any government that exists today, if it were truly effective, it would be transparent. And that is not our government. That's really not any government on this side of the globe. Not that many governments in the world are truly transparent, especially when it comes to the budget. Like I say, we during around the time of 9/11, they even said that $1 trillion can't even be accounted for. Like, how are we supposed to be the most powerful nation in the world, in the history of the world, and we can't even account for $1 trillion, an unfathomable amount of money, in one of our in our nation's most darkest moment, with 3,000 people died? What do you mean you don't know where $1 trillion went? What do you mean you can't account for it? Like, you won't even be able to count towards $1 trillion. Like, try counting to 100. That's a lot. Count to 1,000, 10,000. So for a group of people who we call our governments to say that we can't account for this, one, that tells me you're not just dishonest. But let's say if that's not the case, it shows me something even scarier. You're incompetent, and incompetence is even scarier than dishonesty, because to be dishonest, you have to be conniving, you have to be calculated, which means some level of intelligence. But if you're not even that, you're just straight up incompetent, then people really should be scared. Like I say, the government can't even pay its own bills with all the unjust taxes it gets from us. So how can we expect them to be accountable, to be transparent when it comes to how they manage the money they collect, when it comes to keeping this country together? That's why Cordell said it right. Governments are afraid of this technology, so they have to spread all of these narratives about it, when behind the scenes they're trying to learn how they can adapt to it, because for the first time in history, they can't lie. They have to be exposed. They have to lay all their cards on the table, as they say. And that was one of the things that shocked me about it, because I was like, man, there is no way. Like, when I understood blockchain technology, and as the talk of tokenization started to come up more and more, I was like, damn, so governments can't lie no more. It's going to be a permanent seal, time-stamped transaction on this system. It can't be altered, can't take it back, nothing. And it made me think, bro, this is the type of stuff that wars are started over. They would start a war to make sure this technology doesn't become mainstream. That's why they need us to keep thinking, oh, Bitcoin is a scam. That's why they get people like the financial big boys, the Warren Buffetts of the world, to say it's a scam, it's rat poison and stuff like that. But then you have other people, because there are good people amongst the financial powers to be, to say, no, Bitcoin isn't a scam, blockchain isn't a scam. And what happens? They get called crazy, they get called, crackpots and everything. They get ousted, even with still having their power. And that's the thing that I see when it comes to tokenization. It gives me a sense of hope, but it's also a sense for alarm, because it makes me think, well, you're gonna have to pick a side, because this isn't going to be a smooth transition. It's going to be something very violent. If not physically, you're going to see, corporate buyouts, takeovers, court cases, lawsuits, people protesting against it. And it's something I tell everybody out there, you're going to have to pick a side with this. This isn't for the faint of heart. Don't think that just because this thing's supposed to liberate us, like they say, it was a quote, I think, I don't know if it was Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, somebody, but they say, the tree of liberty has to be renewed with the blood of tyrants and patriots. So, like, somebody's gonna have to sacrifice something in order to get on this wave, in order to make this new system the best it can be. That's the thing that I always get from it when I hear the talk of tokenization, the adoption of blockchain technology.
And real quick too, like you mentioned governments being extremely afraid of this technology because they have to get naked, and that's uncomfortable for a lot of people, like having to show your cards. Um, there's a website. There's actually proof that billions of dollars went into a CIA operation
Mhm.
to smear Bitcoin campaign. And so there's a website right now. And
A
are you guys
psyop.
able to see my screen here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So this website, which is 99bitcoins.com. They keep track of all the Bitcoin obituaries. So Bitcoin has officially died 477 times. August 25th was the most recent and prominent death of Bitcoin. So there was an article from Phoenix which says over 1 year without a death declaration. Over on Twitter, someone said, a prominent figure said, Bitcoin is headed to the end game. This was at 60,000. Bitcoin has failed. This is February 2024. BlackRock will completely destroy Bitcoin. That was Forbes in December of 2023 when it was 42,000. So you go down this list and you see all of these Bitcoin obituaries. It's a fraud. It's useless. It's dead. It will not recover. It's a Ponzi house. All they can do, Trey, is literally just keep smearing it. I'm just gonna keep telling you it's nothing. It'll go away. It's dead. This is the end. And years will keep going by, just like 17 years has went by, and they're still trying to convince you that it's worth nothing. And this is all so they can accumulate as much of it as possible. But that game is already over because this is why they pivoted to decide, like, okay, we'll create our own version of this and we'll essentially try to force our citizens to adopt to it. But Bitcoin says no to that because Bitcoin is permissionless. It doesn't need a government permission to operate. So a lot of people feared that, hey, maybe it could get banned at some point. What would you do if it's banned? I remember going to a Golden Sun jewelry store over in Southfield, and I asked Gary, I'm like, Gary, man, this was 2021. I asked Gary when the price was 30,000. I'm like, Gary, man, would you ever accept Bitcoin for any of your jewelry? He said, absolutely not. And I think that everybody in it is going to jail. Fast forward now, you got a pro crypto presidency, a pro crypto White House. They're trying to figure out how to create a fucking strategic reserve. You have
Yep.
countries like El Salvador who completely adopted it, countries like Singapore and Nigeria, where this stuff is being used prominently every single day in your everyday stores. There's more governmental validation, there's more corporate validation. There's more congressional validation. There's more Wall Street validation. There's more mainstream validation. You got celebrities, sports players, Odell Beckham's, Stephen Curry's, Saquon Barkley's, uh, Clay Thompson, the mayor of New York. You got all these people getting their fucking paychecks in it. So the days of banning it are over. That is done. That is not even a possibility no more. Get it out your head. So what people are going to continue to try to do is is bash it to convince themselves that they're right because they think that they're too late. And I want to leave you with this, man. My brother said he wished he had a time machine so he can go back in time and buy Bitcoin. And what I assured him was that, bro, this is the time machine. We were standing in the middle of a bar when he said that, and immediately another buddy of mine who was in on that conversation stopped the whole bar and said, "Hey, everybody in here, who in here owns Bitcoin?" And nobody raised their hand. Who knows what it is? One person raised his hand. And we huddled back up and I looked at my brother and said, "Bro, you're in the time machine. Even right now at 90,000, this is the time machine. You're already back in time. Accumulate as much as you can possibly amass and wait for the game to begin because we're still in the national anthem and they ain't even done the fucking tip off."
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So, but man, you know what, bro? I want to make sure we create space, to host this podcast. And if you got any other people like peers on your level, I know that's far and few people your age, guys you can you come across and
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can
you know
try to get my uncle on here because he, man, yeah, bro. He be talking about the same thing y'all be on. That's what he like really just unlocked what was already dormant in me. He like, bro, I already know you like me. He just was being breadcrumbing me all these years until I eventually catch on because he
Word.
be all over. He be traveling. What he do? He does cybersecurity as well, but he does it for like the government. So they got the government contracts and stuff like that, and they be doing all that stuff. So
Amazing.
he had sent me stuff over and stuff like that. He was like, look over this and stuff like that, which is that book I showed y'all as well. He told me about that. Um Shoot, I forgot what I was about to ask y'all before I don't know if we had any remarks or anything, but Ripple Bank. Did y'all talk
Hmm.
about anything? Y'all go anything about that? Y'all have anything to
You know
say about
what?
the Ripple Bank?
This gentleman right here at the bottom of the screen there was the very first person telling me about this organization who set out on a very interesting journey, and that journey was to basically bridge the gap between blockchain, cryptocurrency, and the powers that be. Because when this thing was started, it wasn't for the powers that be. It was for all people, not controlled by one group. And so Ripple had the bright idea, what if we help the powers that be plug into this network? So essentially it's like, okay, let's open the door for Satan to walk right in. And this is America, right? We're capitalists. We're always trying to find ways to make money. The only thing that was on their mind when they set out to do that was money. There is no other reason why you would want to help the powers that be who have ruled humanity for as long as we can remember, to help them try to integrate themselves in something that wasn't designed for them to thrive. This is a very hostile environment for hostile individuals. Bitcoin, on the other hand, was completely designed not for money, but for freedom.
Hmm.
That's the difference. The difference is the intent behind why they even exist in the first place. That is the whole reason why I choose Bitcoin. And Sir Hodl will tell you, bro, we'll continue to try to mine this thing together forever, man. With this guy by my side, bro, there's nothing we together cannot accomplish. But Ripple breaks the trust factor with its own blockchain, the XRP blockchain. It breaks
Mm-hmm.
the trust factor that's baked and built into the Bitcoin network. It's built on trust and transparency and truthfulness at all times, no matter what. And the first 32,000 blocks of XRP's blockchain is a lie. It is not truthful. It is not telling the truth. It is completely missing for humanity to never see. So it was pre mined. And when something is pre mined, that means the founders were able to pre mine it 32,000 blocks worth to set aside for themselves. But what they said, this is for like startup operations and cost and things of that nature. Maybe it was, but the transparency and trust factor is not there. It is missing entirely from the first 32,000 blocks, and that alone to any true Bitcoiner is an immediate turnoff and just another reminder why Bitcoin is all you will ever need. And as you mature into this crypto journey, you'll slowly start to filter out the noise, because all of that other stuff, hey man, buy this one, it's about to do this, it's gonna do that, it's gonna change the world like this,
Yes,
fucking noise.
not to even cut you off because I've been here. That's what I've been. I've been asking myself. I'm like, it's Ripple, XRP, and then Japan got the reverse carry trade that just happened. You know, they had 30 years of no yield
Right.
on their what's on going on. So I was like wondering like what's going on. I'm like, is this about to affect how everything's about to go? And then I was like, is this about to make me in or out on XRP? That's what was kind of the deciding factor because it was like, are they trying to like basically use it as a foundation or you know people was talking about like it can't run off of big numbers, it can't, I mean it can only run off of big numbers, like it being low as it is right now, buying it at the dip, like this is good now, but it has to run off of basically like a lot of money got to be into it for it to even flow properly. And I'm like think I'm about to just stick with putting Bitcoin. I think I'm just stick with Bitcoin, man, because it was just too much of a risk of me knowing what it was, what I'm doing with that, and all these signs with it. But yeah, I was just asking a couple of questions about that because I wanted to ask you before when I couldn't get on the first time. That's what happened. It was like they just made basically approved Ripple as a bank or whatever, and I was like, dang, this is I'm like, dang, I need to know a little bit more about what's going on with this, so then I can
Yeah. And I'm not, look, bro. Look, I believe in free will. Do what thou wilt. So, bro, by all means, listen, have your fun, man. Go dabble. Go make a boatload of fucking. I hope you make millions of dollars. I would love that. Go
I
make
know
millions of dollars
I've
with
been putting
Ripple.
like I've been spreading it, just putting seeds in different accounts and stuff like that, because it's like
Yeah.
it's better than better to have multiple seeds than just you just got one, holding it, because you got to have contention plans for contention plans basically with this type of job, this type of field you in. What I've been learning
There's
about.
only three guarantees in this life, man. And I've come to learn it and accept it the hard way. Cab, you already know what it is. That's death,
Yep.
that's taxes,
You
and
you
that's Bitcoin.
let me say this.
Big-
We need to stop saying taxes because if anything, the ultra wealthy have showed us that's not true. You can get out of paying taxes.
yeah, once you become one of them, you get.
So really, the only
Hey,
guarantee in life is death. You can get out of
hey,
paying
look, the
taxes.
ultra rich, they just know how to write it all off, but it's still taxes nonetheless. So with that being the case, with those being the three guarantees in life, no matter what, uh, you can pretty much rest assured that you're making the right decision when you buy it. When I was a trader in the market trying to snipe the market, oh, let me get in the USD, the JPY pairs. Let me do Forex. I'm hurting my head. I'm
Man,
looking at
for
news. I'm looking at interest
Forex way,
rates.
and
Forex, man,
My
dog.
God, bro. I'm looking at charts. I'm creating Fibonacci setups. I'm
you don't
like, I'm
even
gonna
hear about that no more.
I'm
You
gonna
don't hear
nail this
nothing
thing.
about that. I was hearing them. They was just
They be
clowning
letting
about
that
it a
dry.
couple.
All the
Man,
courses. Sign up for our Forex course. You got to get in
Bro.
right now. We're only keeping it open for 6 more hours. We're going to give you a discount code right now. You can get into the mastermind group. You're going to be making a lot of money. You got to get on this train, guys.
Hey, bro, people made more money
yo,
off getting you into their
selling.
training course than they made off of trading crypto itself. I mean, Forex is damn self.
And then the startup fee, they charge you what they paid for the Airbnb that y'all sitting in anyways.
Dog. Word.
Like
And then look,
what?
So
we'll actually up look like I don't want to tell you this, but right now for the next 30 minutes, we got a super discount. You can upgrade into our almighty Forex trader mastermind group. It's only 15 of us, but you know what? Somebody just got out because they don't believe in the vision. We're gonna let you in, and it's only gonna cost you. Wait, you ready for this? $9.97. That was anything. All the prices would be $397, $797, $990. This is a $2,000 value, but we're selling it right now for only 6 hours for $497 right now. And we're gonna throw in this free Forex Mastermind booklet, this 100-page booklet right now with the $497. It's only $497. You got to invest in yourself, right? 2 years later, oh man, William Lockhart, a leader of the Forest Group, gets charged for $30 million in fraud. Shit.
Literally, bro.
They all have similar sounding names like Chuck, Todd, Matt, and eventually they all either disappear with everybody's money, like Bernie Madoff. Like I said, that's why his name was Madoff, because he made off with everybody's shit. You know what I'm saying? So if it's anything I could end this with, I would say this. I said, look, blacks in America have a $1.3 trillion buying power. If black men alone stopped buying Jordans, the entire company would collapse. Black women alone hold up the global weave market to the tune of over $10 billion yearly. Include expensive luxury vehicles, trips, jewelry, purses, all this stuff. If blacks in America alone, this is not something I'm pulling out of my ass, just do the math yourself. If blacks in America stopped overspending for just a year and invested into Bitcoin, we would own all of it. That's a fact. We would own all of it collectively. Just with a year, maybe not even that, of living humbly below our means. Sell all the cardies, sell all the cars, and invest in that. I've done the math myself. I couldn't believe it. With $1.3 trillion in buying power, we alone as a people in America could own this thing. Like Nino said, we're going to bum rush the whole damn thing, and nobody could do anything to stop it. The hard part is, like Tupac said, we have to change the way we think, change the way we treat each other. I'm willing to do it. Cordell's willing to do it. You sound like you willing to do it too. But the rest of our people are scared of that, because we have to do the one thing that's the hardest thing for any human being to do, and that's to ask if we're wrong about everything we've been taught, about the identity that we put on every day, especially when it comes to our finances. Because like I've said in previous episodes, this thing with investing, this thing with Bitcoin, it's not just a money thing. I'm reading a book right now called God the Economist. Look it up. Great book. You can't separate the Almighty from finance. God is in everything, including money. And if God had a system, which he does, to be financially stable, to live a financially abundant life so that you can help others, like, it would be personified in Bitcoin. It would be personified in living below your means, in the amount of food that you put in your refrigerator, only buying what you need to sustain yourself, no snacks, only going to the gym, focusing on yourself and investing money in that area, only buying a car you know you can afford. This is the financial system of the Almighty. And that's the hardest thing for us as blacks to come face to face with, is that we've been living in the enemy system of finance. Like I say, buying stuff we don't need, buying the weave that is actually toxic and actually has been linked to cancer, buying these cars we can't afford, going on trips we can't afford, using credit cards we know whose debt we can't service. That's the enemy system of finance. But like I say, if we for just 1 year we abandoned all of that, asked if we're wrong, and we gave our lives to this system, like I say, blockchain, Bitcoin, you would see a complete 180 in our community overnight if we just question the cultural values that we have around money. And that's what it did for me. It made me question, what do I value when it comes to finance? Why do I value this? Do I value it because my parents told me, get a 401k, get all this? They don't know. They were led astray by the enemy. And so whenever I see Bitcoin go up in price, goes down, but then goes up even higher, that gives me hope, and it reassures me that I'm living in God's system. This is the right way. But it won't always feel right, but it is right. This is the way to liberation, and it's not easy, but it can be done. Like Cordell said, it's that hope. And that's the only thing that's really real to me, is when I look at Bitcoin, I'm like, this system that I choose to live in now, this is the only thing that's truly real. Everything else is just an illusion and designed to keep me enslaved. That's why it's like, even with dating, it's like I say, it's like I look at the Cash App statement that I sent my ex over the years, and I did it willingly. It wasn't forced. Um, did certain things for the wrong reasons, but I look at the total amount now. I'm like, man, if I invested that into Bitcoin or invested that into my body or other things, to where it's like, man, where would my life be? But see, I was thinking in a different system. I was giving too much of myself to something that in the long run is temporary, as opposed to something that can be forever. So that's what I was just in this with. And like I say, Trey, you sound like you on the right path, man. It's no, nothing is coincidental. Everything happens how it's supposed to be. The same way it was led, it came in my life through my high school friend. Same way how I link back up with Cordell, it's touched all of our lives, and it's a sign to all of us, to everybody out there. I'm saying, give your life to it. This is like I say, the way, the truth, and the life. And you can think that's blasphemous if you want, but if anything, it goes right with what says in the Bible. Do not worship any other god before me. Have no other gods before me. And we give our lives to vanity. We give our lives to cardies. We give our lives to expensive clothes that, they may impress somebody for a minute, but then people stop caring. And if they do like you, they only want you for what you can do for them, not of the sincerity of their hearts. Like me and Cordell been rocking for years. Love this man, rain, sleet, hail, snow, rich or poor. If I didn't have $1 to my name, or if I had $1,000,000, that's what our values are, what unites us and what brought us to making this
The law of equal
podcast. And that
exchange.
goes back to what I'm saying. We have to question our dogma, our values as a people, especially when it comes to this thing called money, currency, whatever you want to call it. And that's the hardest thing, but it pays off. And I see that I'm on my way to the promised land, slowly but surely. And I'm glad that it's not a quick thing, because like I say, the enemy promised you quick success, but long lasting salvation is nurtured. You got to plant the seed, you got to water it, you got to go through the seasons, keep pests away. But in the end, the fruit will be that much sweeter.
Beautiful. Hey, pass
Mm.
the collection plate, my brother. um, hey, like I said, great way to end that, Cap. Trey, man, just curious, man, you know, is there anywhere where the people can find you, man, where they can learn more about you? Uh, Anywhere you create or post content or information or knowledge in general?
Uh, y'all can follow me on my Instagram. It's Yappa, and then it like put so free after that. Y'all can follow me on there. Um, I don't even know my Facebook name by heart. I just just be on there for family and stuff like that. I'm trying to get that together now. I'm changing everything around now, like
How do you spell
2026.
your Instagram?
YAPOSOFREE.
All right. I just went ahead and threw that in there. So that's the IG right there. And then what's your Facebook?
Hold on. Let me see.
I
I
think
might have to
that's
hit
the other
my
one you mentioned, right? Facebook.
yeah the Facebook.
Okay.
Hold on, shoot.
One more time
Kick
for the
me
people
out.
in the back who didn't get that.
Oh yeah, it's just my name, Trayvon Evon, and then Taylor Taylor.
You said
Yeah,
TR. I'm sorry.
E. Yeah, it's just Trayvon Taylor Trevon, and Taylor
I
Taylor.
got you, man. So yes, y'all can find this young man at these handles that we put on the screen here. Look, Trey, man, appreciate you joining us for this discussion, man. Uh,
Definitely,
God see
man. I
fit. Let this
appreciate
be the
y'all.
first of many. The first of many, man. You got any topics you want to hit on? Hey, you already know what to do. Hit me up. shoot me a
Hey,
text.
yeah, you already know
We're
I'm
gonna
about to
dive
come with
right
you
in.
because I be sending you the videos, man. I be sending them videos.
Yes,
I'll be like,
sir. I
man,
respect
y'all
it,
talked
bro.
about this. I'll be like,
And I
man, I
sent it
just
to
want to see
Cab.
what.
When you sent it to me, I sent it to Cab.
I
So we
watched it
all
too.
on the same
That
page,
was,
bro.
that was a great one. So it gave me, like I said, a lot of insight, like some stuff that I didn't even know about. I didn't even know about the DTCC. I was like, okay.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, man,
um,
bro. I'm gonna send you something else. The Camila Stevens, they got this she is doing like a partnership with somebody else. It's called Stock Up University, man. And I'm telling y'all, they really go through like everything about it. Like he talk about all of it. So I'm gonna send you I'll send Cordell that, then he send it to you, then y'all can deep dive into that. We talk about it, and when
you
next time
know
I
it.
come back on here, man,
I
we
got
you
your
know.
Let's
IG too,
do
so
it,
I'll be
man.
adding you.
Hey, I appreciate having you, man. And look, for the audience out there watching, for more videos like this, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to this channel because we're gonna be hitting on topics around finance, culture, economics, politics, all of the things in the realm of bettering yourself as a person, as a community, as a society. Like this video, share with a friend if you thought it was helpful.